All right, let's do this. So today we're going to go through a routine to help you maintain the strength and the health of your knees. This is important if you're a runner, if you're an athlete, if you have any aches or pains in your knee. And we're going to look at this from a ground up foundational approach. And if you deal with any kind of knee pain, start with the feet and the hips. So the two joints surrounding the knees. And so let's go ahead and get started in a standing position. And you're going to stand with feet about shoulder width apart, lifting the toes up. So you create a nice arch with the feet. And then place the toes back down. And then feel the base of your big toe. You're going to press that into the floor, the base of your pinky toe, and then the heel that creates a foot tripod. So you're going to press those three into the floor. You can slightly lift the arch up. So if you deal with any kind of knee pain, oftentimes could be the result of collapsing arches when you're running. So the knees will then fall inward. Okay. I've struggled with that issue for a long, long time. So I've had to do a lot of strengthening and realignment of the feet, of the knees, of the hips to make sure that our knees are tracking in one line. So once you got that, we're going to sink the knees just a little bit. So bending into the knees, still keep the chest up nice and tall. And you're going to lean the body weight forward. Okay. Now, as you do this, we're going to hold here. You're going to start to feel some tension within the ankle, within the muscles that hold up the feet. Try to maintain the arch and breathe through it. So we're leaning forward here into the balls of the feet, feeling the strength of the ankles, of all the foot muscles. So if we work on strengthening the feet here, we're going to have just a better ability to move through space, just overall, just better gait pattern. So holding that there and then shifting the weight back, noticing how it feels, and then shifting the weight forward again. Still maintaining an upright posture through the torso, but the knees are slightly bent, tailbone slightly tucked. Now, if you want to challenge yourself, you can lean forward even more. Okay, so you can kind of test your edge here, noticing how that feels. I feel a little bit of a burning sensation through my feet, through my ankles. Nice job. Just go ahead and shake that out. So that's one exercise that you can do for the foot. The other is called the short foot exercise. So basically, like pressing down on the base of the big toe, both feet. Imagine you have eagle's talons and you're gripping the floor. So very similar to what we were doing in the beginning. But now the idea is you're going to relax and then engage. It's called a short foot exercise. So the idea is like you have eagle's talons and we're bringing the feet closer in towards the heels as you do this. Or imagine you have a towel underneath your feet and you're scrunching that towel. But the movement is not coming from the toes, it's coming from the base of the big toe. Okay, so right here. So we're just engaging and relaxing. So that's called the short foot exercise. Nicely done. Okay, so now we're going to go down onto the mat, hands and knees position. And I'd say probably the most important thing if you're taking care of your knees is to take care of your core. And we're going to start with a balloon breathing exercise where we're going to inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth, pushing all the air out. You're going to feel the belly button contract into the core. So keep pushing the air out until you feel that contraction in the core. And feel that engagement squeezing into the core just a little bit. Good. So just returning to normal breathing. That's how we're going to activate our core today, bringing that belly button into the spine. And then from here, keeping the arms straight, we're going to reach the right leg up to the sky with the knee bent. So the right heel is reaching up to the sky, knee bent. Now, make sure your back is nice and square here. So the hips are going to want to shift. So reaching that heel up to the sky. Right hand especially is pushing into the floor. If you can, we're going to just pulse a few times up here. Now, oftentimes, weak knees or knee pain issues are a result of lack of glute activation, hip strength. So this is what we're doing here, making sure we have more balance, more strength with our powerhouse muscles. Nicely done. We're going to go to the other side here. Belly button into the spine, arms nice and straight. Left heel this time up to the sky. Now, it doesn't matter how high you get. What's most important is if you keep your back nice and flat. So we're not arching here. Okay, we're not getting this lift through the back. We're keeping that core engaged. You can even put your right hand on your low back, just to kind of test it out, feel it out, and then reach, 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 reach. So right now I'm working pretty strong, about 80% here, trying to push that left heel up into the sky. My left glute is on fire. Nicely done. Just round here, arch it out, a few cat and cows here. And then coming back to center. The next thing we're gonna do is straighten the right leg back, and then we're gonna reach the left arm forward. So our bird dog position. Again, working through the core. Now, an option here, if you feel your stability here, is to draw a mini circle with the arm and leg. So I'm just drawing a mini circle. More important is that I'm reaching out. So both limbs are reaching out. Imagine you're shooting energy out of your toes and fingertips. A few more times, you can switch directions. Nicely done. And same thing, other side. So left leg kicks back, left heel reaches back. And before you reach the right arm, imagine you're pressing the left heel through a door behind you or into the wall behind you. So you're really putting some force through that. Left glute is turned on, right arm reaches forward, and we draw our mini circles here. If you have the balance, again, maintaining that tabletop, switching directions here. Awesome. We're going to take a break, just sitting on the heels. Also really important here for the mobility of your knees, getting a stretch for the quads, taking a deep breath. And the next thing we're going to do is go on to our left side, bending the knees about 90 degrees. We're going to do a side body plank, kind of a side bridge, if you will. So right hand on top of the waist, left elbow underneath the shoulder. Make sure you really press that left elbow into the ground so the shoulder's away from the ear. And then we lift the hips up. And as you lift up, see if you can bring the hips forward and up. So we have a nice straight line through the shoulders to the knees. Now, option here to pulse, but more importantly, seeing if you can bring this hip up as high as you can, bring the belly button forward, the shoulders working too, and this is our stability. Okay, so the side glute here is really how we maintain our stability for running, for walking, for jumping. One of the most important muscles to strengthen. Nicely done. Coming down. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So this is a routine that you can do. You can use it as a warm-up before you go out and play, go run. Elbow nice and strong, shoulders away from the ear. Hip is reaching up to the sky. Option here to pulse if you want. It's fine wherever you're at, even if you're just holding here. If you want a little bit more of a challenge, you can lift the top knee up in the sky. We'll go for about 10 more seconds here. Keep pressing the bottom knee, bottom elbow into the floor. So we root down to rise up, create a nice arch. Well done. Okay. So that's our side bridge. So the next thing we're going to do is come up to standing. Okay. And we're going to work a little bit on the balance. So I'm just going to come to the front of the mat here, starting with the right leg first. So the movement we want to work on here is the hip hinge. Okay. So both hands here are on the waist. So we're just warming up the movement. Might start to feel a nice stretch through the back of the legs. Spine is nice and straight. And notice when we do this hip hinge, the knees are not coming forward, right? So we're not squatting. Okay, so the hips are going back. And now we're going to do the same thing on one leg. So right leg forward, or balancing on the right leg rather. And then we're just going to tap the foot back behind us, okay, and come forward. Okay, so that's step one. Okay, arms can just reach in front of you, or you can hold on to your waist. The idea here is we're balancing on the right leg the entire time. Now, if you've got the hang of this, no need to tap. We can just reach from our hip hinge, okay? And we're gonna drive the left knee forward, standing nice and strong. So exhale, reaching back as far as you can, and then driving forward. We're not squatting yet. We're not lunging. We're just reaching and driving that knee forward. So now you should really feel this right hip working. Feel mine is on fire. You're doing great. We're going to do a few more. Add some arm movement here. We can reach the arms forward and then pull it back as we drive through. A progression of this would even be holding some dumbbells, holding some weight. Okay. And then driving through. So single leg RDL here, reaching back, driving through. That's about 15 or so. We're going to go ahead and switch sides. You're doing great here. Okay, so first just finding the balance. And for some of you, it might just be this today, right? Just balancing, working on just a mini hinge. So you can always just touch back, okay, with the toes. If you need to hold on to something, you hold on to something, right? So you're going to modify for whatever you need. If you've got your balance, we're just going to reach. Balance the whole time, and then maybe add a kick. Okay, can reach the arms, get that involved, or even like a sprinter's lunge here, or holding some weight in each hand. Again, making sure we're feeling that left hip really work here, and as we drive the knee forward, straightening out the base leg. You're doing so well. Let's do one more here. Nicely done. I'm going to shake it out here. We're going to come back to the feet as we're giving our hips a little bit of a rest, and we're going to do some calf raises. Again, strengthening the ankles, strengthening the calves. It's going to just support our knees. So if you think about any kind of athletic activity, you're walking, running, hiking, playing sport, it's a lot of single leg balancing movements, okay, where we're like stepping forward, lunging forward. So strengthening the side of our hips for balance and also having the power from our glutes is going to help protect our knees. So oftentimes we get the runner's knee pain if our quads are too tight or if our quads are too engaged. So we want to make sure there's a balance between the back body and the front of the thighs. Maybe just a few more calf raises here. Okay. We're going to do one other fun balancing exercise for the hips, and that is the airplane. I'm going to come at a slight angle here. So we're going to get into our hip hinge position, balancing on the right leg, reaching the left leg back. Bring your arms into an airplane position, okay? And then from here, if you can come forward, okay, that's great. And we can experiment with rotating from the hips, side to side. So your arms are like the wings, but the arms are just coming along for the ride. So the rotation is actually happening from the hips. All right. A few more seconds here. You're doing great. Finding that balance. Keep rooting through the floor of that base leg. And then coming up. Nicely done. Shake it off. We're going to do the same thing other side. Leaning forward, reaching that back leg back, coming into our airplane balance. Okay. And then we're opening up from the hip, rotating in, rotating out. Okay. You can explore your range of motion here. Explore that balance. Hey, and if you fall, you fall. You just get back up. If you need to hold on to something, you can do that. You want to challenge your balance here. And that is the airplane. So all these exercises we did, you can go through several rounds. We're just going through one round of each today. And then lastly, what I'd recommend doing is taking all that activation that we've done with the core and the hips, and now we're going to integrate it with the lunge, which is going to be most representative of our activity for running, for lunging, for jumping, all of that. So we're just going to balance on the right leg here. And I like to do a step back lunge because it requires a little bit more balance. So the arms are going to come forward and we're going to reach the back leg back as we slowly lower, and then go as low as you can until you can't hold it anymore, and then tap the back leg down, back knee down, and then up. Okay, so we'll do 4 more on this side. So the idea is we're reaching as far back as we can. Torso is nice and straight, leaning forward, and then stepping back. Power step up. You can do an optional knee drive. So leaning forward through the torso, straight spine, kicking that left leg back, shifting the hips back, reaching as far back as you can go, and then touching down. Power drive up. I think we have 2 more left. Nicely done. I might have done one more. And now we're going to do the same thing, other side, finding that balance, stepping the right leg back this time, getting as low as you can before touching down, and then power up. So again, finding the balance, see how smooth you can make it, right? This is not about speed here on the way down. You can use a little bit more speed on the way up. Finding the control. One more for good luck. There we go. So now you have it here. It's a routine that you can follow to keep your knees healthy and strong from the ground up, working on the strength, the stability of your feet, the activation of your core, your hips, and then integrating that with a little bit of single leg balance, hip hinging, and then doing some lunging. You're going to feel so much stronger and your knees will be healthier for it. Thanks for following along today, and make sure to go ahead and subscribe, share a comment, and keep going. Stay strong.